Hi, welcome to LNA Does Audio Stuff Mixing course. This course is 15 lessons long, and in these 15 lessons you will learn to mix a whole track from start to end, using only Ableton Live's own stock devices. What you will learn is a mixing workflow that works for any type of genre and any type of song, the key concepts of mixing, awesome techniques and ways to apply the Ableton Live stock devices into your mix, as well as some fun tips and tricks. While watching this course, you can actually practice and do exactly what I'm doing in the videos using a song that I have created just for this course. You can download the stems and Ableton Live practice session from the link down below. No previous mixing experience needed. I will explain everything to you and you can get started with your mixing. Please remember to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell icon so that you will be notified every single time I post a new video for this course. Let's get started with mixing. Okay, this episode is about dynamic processing as well as adding a little bit of distortion into a mix. Some of the amazing tools in Ableton Live that will really make your mix so much better. Thank you so much for DistroKid for sponsoring this mixing course. After you have done with your mix and you mastered your song, you need a distributor to put your song out there, and I really would recommend to have a look at DistroKid. In the end of this video, I'm showing on how to use one of their really cool function called splits that allows you to share the revenue fairly with everybody you collaborated with in your song. So check that out in the end of this video, but now let's get into this tutorial. So the tools that we're going to be using now on this track are glue compressor. Nice one. Multiband Dynamics, Erosion, and Saturator. Like, I use them so much in mixing personally, just because, as we talked before in this course, the main purpose of mixing is to separate things on their own places. Sometimes we need some zazz, sometimes we need to add some more frequency harmonics to make sure that those necessary frequencies on the tracks, which we are not deleting using EQ, but we want to exaggerate, maybe sometimes those ones we need to even exaggerate even more. So example, the most common problem, kick and bass, so that we can make sure that they sound separate and good and they sound like together, like powerful, and they don't suck each other's energy. We need to use stuff like Saturator or Erosion to add that extra zazz stuff on the top of it to make sure that we get that separation. Put my glasses on. Now I want to add a glue compressor to the vocal group track, which is this one here, which means that together using the compressor, we can actually make the vocals sound more together and more cohesive. Let's go and add a glue compressor, audio effects, dynamics, and glue compressor to there. I solo the group track. We are again looking at the dynamics here. So the lowest of the dynamics were around 36 to kind of 40 area here, and the loudest parts were around -24. So now the threshold I'm gonna take down to around, what did I say now? -40. Oh, it goes to -40. Perfect. A little bit less than that. I want to add a little bit faster attack and slower release so that we catch a little bit more of everything that is happening. So we add more cohesive instead of just catching transients. Okay, and then we need to use range to add that kind of little bit more subtle change to it, so it doesn't sound as harsh. And then we make up gain, use that it's about the same for input and output. Nice. Okay, so without and with. I I really like that. It's a very subtle change, but it sounds really good. So I'm actually gonna do the same on the low end one. So we have all the drums and the bass happening here. So I'm just gonna put a glue compressor also there. So without and with. Oh, that sounds really nice actually. Multiband Dynamics, and we're going to add it only to the drums group. So now we added one glue compressor to the low end group, but there's a group inside of the group called drums, and we're going to add multiband dynamics there. So I have a full video explaining what multiband dynamics is, what it does. So we have upright compression, downward compression, upright expansion, and downward expansion. So we're going to now use those to do this. I'm gonna start with the low end. With this, if we open up the window, we can always remind ourselves which way we want to go. So if we want to add compression or expanse. So what I want to do is go upwards for upwards compression for lower one. So we're gonna go above 1. Okay, and we need to go to threshold. That's for the low one. And then we're going to go to attacks and releases. And a little bit faster. Listen to the low end. Or okay, so I want to go to the mid part and let's just see what happens there. Let's go downward compression there. So that is above 1 results in downward compression. Well, going the wrong way. And we need to go with the threshold. Just to get that a little bit of snashiness on there. Hey, and then let's go for the high. Which way I want it to go? Downwards compression also for the high end. Oh, wrong way again. I like that. It's quite harsh, but that's fine. And then attacks and releases. I want to go quite fast attack and slower release. So we're taking away those transients a little bit. So this is without. And then with. And then together with the glue compressor on the low end. Let's just listen to that. I want to add a drum bus to the drum group like this. Trim it a little bit, just let's listen in. But again, remember the gain stage. We're gonna come much better. Drum bus is one of the best things ever. We just brought that in. Just add a little bit more strength to it. Also, I have a full video about drum bus if you wish to learn more about it. The next thing we're gonna use is, honestly, one of my favorite one is Saturator, especially in a bass. Because now if we listen to the low end group, everything still sounds a bit like Not the best. It just sounds a bit bleh, especially the bass. But again, with Saturator, like with everything else, you need to remember, especially if this is for a client, that you're not changing the aesthetic choices of the sound, but you're just making it more visible. So we're just polishing a turd, basically, in mixing. I also have a full video about how to use Saturator, so if these confuse you, again, link down below to watch the video about Saturator. So we are first starting by putting output down, adding drive, and I like going really loud with the drive first. Already, by the way, can I just say how much more interesting the bass sounds? This is it. Bit dull. It just adds that kind of dirt and grind to it. So we are going to start by using these clips that are available. So analog clip was that one. Then let's try soft sine. Interesting. No. Too hard. Actually, any type of fold, I personally like on funky basses like this. Adds that kind of wah-wah sound. I have a feeling that Wave Shaper is our friend today. Yeah, that clip is not working either. So, and in here we can add depth, which is actually, we add like an extra sine wave on the top of it, which actually can make it sound really interesting. So let's just add curve, depth, and then dampen period. How funky is that? That is proper wah wah wah. A little bit. This is in the line. Are we sound designing or are we actually mixing? So I feel like this is more sound designing because it sounds so different now. It sounds like a different bass. So what I'm actually going to do is going to go to sine fold. Yeah, because it's still the same bass, but sounds much better. Sounds more like it added a lot of more harmonics to the signal that made it sound a lot more interesting. So now let's use the filters and make it even better. So we're going to take a little bit of high end away. And then we're going to go here around maybe 200 on the other filter. Add a little bit depth and width. This works basically like an EQ. Okay, how does it sound without? Bit boring. Okay, and with. Gain staging is so important here. Make sure that the input and output are about the same. Yes. Okay, so I have an issue with the snare of this drum rack. So now if we listen to the mix, we have a really nice boomy kick, very round. Then we have quite sharp hi-hats and we have now really funky bass. But the snare, listen to the snare. It just kind of gets meddled in the middle. So I'm not really liking that. So what we will go here and we're going to add erosion into there. And honestly, this will make it sound a lot more interesting. So we have 3 options in erosion. So white noise, we will get a really like stereo width to it. Noise, we just add some noise to it to actually make it more. Every time it hits, it adds a little bit noise to it. And sine, we are adding this extra sine wave on the top of it to make it maybe more electronic. But again, with this, you need to be careful. It's not sound design, it's mixing. So I'm going to go. Oh, that's the hi-hat. Around 1 to 2 to 3 kilohertz is a very nice area for snare to kind of pop out. So what I could also do, as I said in previously, is that we can add more EQs after we already added one. The first one there is to cut away the unnecessary frequencies. Then we add all this great stuff to kind of exaggerate the frequencies that we left. And now we can also add another EQ just to make it even better. So there's still quite a lot of frequencies in the low end. But then these frequencies really give the snare the body that it has. So we could bring it up a little bit just there. You can hear there. It's quite almost like a sine wavy. And there's a tiny click there. Okay. So we just brought it a little bit, and then again, remember to add, take away a little bit of gain because we brought it up a little bit. There we go. So now I can recognize that the frequencies with the whole group is much better. But what's still happening is that they all kind of meddle too much together. They're too in the middle. But in the next video where I talk about stereo spectrum, this issue will be solved. Maybe a saturator a little bit on the guitar piano sample. So in the mix, this is without, with. Just adds a little bit more that like to it. Another place that I want to add it a little bit is the main vocal. So the vocal one here and vocal one end. So I'm going to add also saturator to both of those tracks. So this is with. I just want to love you, want to love you, without. Want to love you the way you love me tonight. So it adds a little bit of grid, a little bit of dirt to it, and it just makes it sure that the main vocal is the one that will pop out from the mix. You give me. And we can go to the dry wet and just take it a little bit says da 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 da. And we can just always, of course, automate that. We can adjust it a little bit later. So the next episode, we will be talking about stereo spectrum and spreading things around. And honestly, you don't want to miss that. It's great. Hey, so I just want to tell you a little bit about DistroKid splits. It's not like you don't not learn to do splits, but it's a service where you can split all the revenue, all the percentage, all that with all the people that you're collaborating with. Because especially now, like 2020, 2021, we started to collaborate with people even more and more and more. Then sometimes it can be a bit messy because you're like, how do I actually get everything paid? You know, 50% for that person and 50% for me, but how do I get that all sorted out? Well, you go to your DistroKid account, and on the top bar there is splits. So basically automatically splits payments to your collaborators. Super easy to do. So you're going to select the track which you collaborated with somebody else. So you go select that, then you just go to next. So example, if I compose this with 50 and 50 with somebody else, so I can go here, where is 50? There we go. And I can add another 50 for somebody else if I had written this with anyone else. So you can add unlimited collaborators to your track. You can change the splits anytime. So also it's really good for privacy and so that there's no drama. The collaborators can only see their own percentages, what they're getting, because otherwise drama in a band. Your collaborators do need to have a DistroKid account, one of these lovely things, but they get 50% off discount, so it's only like $10 or something. So if your collaborator is late signing up, it doesn't mean that your release is going to be late. And also if they never sign up, then you can either keep the percentages for yourself or you can do it the calculation somewhere else. And also DistroKid never takes a cut, so remember that. So you get all your 100% of your money. It's just a really easy tool. Like as an independent artist, we don't have money to pay for accountant. We can actually just do it here, and that's why it's super fast way to do that. So I'm really love it. I love this. I love this. Love it, love it, love it. If you want to check out DistroKid and also splits, then go to the link down below and more info there. Check it out. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe, please hit the bell icon so that you get notified every time I post. Usually I always post all my Patreon followers here, but in this mixing course, I am now thanking all my patrons in the info box down below. If you want to be part of that family where I do weekly live stream Q&As, I give feedback, I give free stuff, presets and templates. If you want to be part of that all an amazing community, then please check out the link also down below. Also, remember, I have merch, so check that out as well down below. Have a very lovely day, and I'll see you next Sunday because I post every single Sunday. Bye.